that's a TV at home, right there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're live, Council President.
We're good to go?
Good to go. Good evening.
Oh, okay. Thank you, everyone. It's May 20th, 2020 at 7:07 p.m. Welcome to tonight's virtual meeting. Tonight's meeting is available on gotomeeting.com and cable channels for Optimum at channel 77 and Verizon Fios channel 28. You may email questions and comments to the Borough Clerk in advance to lfernandez@hawthornenj.org, or you can log in from your computer, tablet, or smartphone at https://global.gotomeeting.com/join/726-736-141, or dial in at 669-224-3412, access code 726-736-141. Roll call.
Bennett?
I'm here.
Leosa?
Here.
Lane?
Here.
Mealy?
Here.
Skiara?
Here.
Wachecki?
Here.
Matthews?
Here. Please join me in pledging allegiance to our America's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I know, Ian, you're slacking. I said Ian's slacking. Last week we had the American flag on the video screen. This week, nothing.
Oh, I swapped it. Yeah, I thought it was there.
And Lori, just so you know, we are not broadcasting on Cablevision. There's a church picture on their TV at the moment. It's broadcasting now.
Okay, thank you, Mike. I think it's up now, Frank.
Okay. Up now. Wasn't a moment ago.
I think something else is going to channel 7.
Okay. Adequate notice this meeting has been provided by the annual schedule of regular meetings, herefore adopted and posted on the public bulletin board at the municipal building, emailed to the Hawthorne Press, the Herald News, the Record, the Gazette, and all persons who requested the mailing of such schedule. And a copy of such schedule has remained on file in the office of the Borough Clerk from and since December 12th, 2019. Approval of the minutes. Can I have approval of the minutes for the special virtual meeting of April 27, 2020?
So moved.
Motion by Lane, second by Wachecki. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Wachecki?
Yes.
Skiara?
Yes.
Mealy?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Leosa?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Matthews?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Public comment. I'll now open the meeting to the public. For any comments on the agenda items, please call in now to 669-224-3412, access code 726-736-141. Does anyone wish to be heard? Or you can use the chat feature if you're already logged in. Well, not seeing anyone. Lori, did anyone email you?
I do not have any emails.
Okay, hearing no one or seeing no one, I have a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion by Leosa, second by Bennett. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Adoption of ordinances we have done this evening. Old business. Bruce, start your way tonight.
None.
Dominic.
Council President, are we be planting the Borough Hall for Memorial Day, the plants? Do we know that?
I
We'll
don't know
find
that. Eric?
I'll find out and we'll let you know. I
Thank
believe the plans are forward, but I can't confirm it.
Okay.
Got it.
Frank, the crossing signs for the, where we designated streets, we're gonna put crossing signs. Any progress on that?
Everything in
Eric, on the
Everything in DPW has been slowed because we've been working on with social distancing and with only part of the workforce in each day. But I will find out what the schedule is and get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Eric, when you're looking into that, as well as the speed signs, could you look into the crossing signs that we purchased as well for those two locations?
Yes, I'll look at everything on the signage.
Okay. Anything else, Dominic?
No, that's it. Thank you, Frank.
John?
Yes, thank you. Eric, is there any update from Public Service with regard to the paving of Lafayette Ave Extension?
Actually, I had a fairly extensive report tonight. We had a pre-construction phone call today. They expect to start in the area off Lafayette Avenue Extension in the middle of next week, after giving notice to the individual homeowners. After they finish that, they will move on to the area in Ashley Heights. They still have some services in Ashley Heights they have to finish because the BPU put them on hold because they can't go into people's houses for now, and that won't happen until June. They still expect to get all the paving in Ashley Heights done before school would start in September.
Great, thank you so much. Also, is there any update on the central fire alarm systems for the town buildings?
No, sadly, there is not, but I will get some information and get back to you.
Okay. And is there any update with regard to fixing the sign in front of the building?
It's done.
Eric?
I heard Dominic say it's done. I didn't look. I know.
It's done.
Okay, very good. Thank you. That's all I have, Frank.
While you were talking about public service, Eric, did they fix the stamped concrete that Joe had mentioned a couple meetings ago? Sorry, Joe.
I went to get
I don't think they have. I didn't check, but I will follow up with them again.
Frank, they did
Well,
not
it's nice
fix it.
outside work.
They did not fix it.
They did not. Well, I don't know what the excuse is, since that's nice outside work and you're not going inside people's homes.
I don't have an excuse.
Maybe we should put a hold on paying that bill.
It's public service.
Okay, we'll move on. Raina. What a segue.
No, tell me about it. It's okay, I don't have any updates on old business.
No old business, okay. I kind of used up mine, Joe.
All right, you did the stamped concrete at Rough Garden already. 266 Lafayette Ave was a trip hazard. Where are we with that? I see his lips moving, but he's not unmuted.
This was a PSC&G issue.
Yes, sir.
I will follow up with them. I haven't heard what they're doing, so.
All right, I did ask also about the Farallon Avenue Bridge. We were told that it was going to be completed by 2019. We are now in May of 2020. I don't think COVID acts as an excuse due to the fact that 2019 we had no COVID cases in the United States.
I will find out what they're
Maybe you
doing.
should contact your freeholder. Maybe you should contact the freeholders, Joe, see if they can give us an update.
I always like to follow the chain of command. I bring it to Eric in administration and for them to contact. Unless you want me to contact my friends, I'll be more than happy, but I've always followed the chain of command.
I'm only thinking it's a waste of Eric's time.
Yeah. Not a waste of my time, and I'll get an answer.
That connects our borough to anything.
Look, I'll be honest with you. When I asked about it originally,
Anything else?
it was during the soccer, when we had our soccer field debacle, and everybody knows how I was during the soccer field issue. I was enemy number one.
Are you back in the fold?
I'm so busy at work, I can tell you that I don't know what my political standing is.
I will get an answer.
Okay, we'll switch to new business. Joe, we'll start back with you with new. Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry, Mike.
I actually have something. That's why I'm raising my hand. Thank you. Thank you, Council President. Quick question. I know Council was copied on a letter from a resident regarding the tennis courts. And I know the governor had signed a new law with new measurements that getting some, allowing some more outdoor activities. And one of them happens to be tennis clubs. And I know our tennis courts is not a club, but I didn't know if A, someone got back to the resident, and B, have we made a decision on our tennis courts?
We have. It's in my report tonight. We're going to be open Friday for singles only. No doubles, only singles.
Okay. And did anybody get back to the resident, or this is how we're doing it?
This is probably how we're doing it because we were waiting to hear from the governor's office. We heard yesterday that Friday he was relaxing things, so we made the decision yesterday to open up on Friday when the governor allowed.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Mike?
We're good. Thanks, Frank.
Well, then we'll stick with you for new business.
I have none. Thanks.
Joe.
Thank you, Council President. We had a tree issue on Bamford Ave, and I want to thank Maureen from the DPW who addressed it immediately for us. Also, there was some questions about some trees that were cut down along Diamond Bridge in the area of a very famous church, which was addressed immediately. I won't mention that church, but those two things, I have to tell you that during this COVID season, while I email the things that are of concern, they are being addressed immediately. I thank everyone from administration who is working tirelessly, Maureen, Lori, Eric. I know that you guys are going in, and I want to thank you very much. Whenever I call you guys are always there, and thank you very much during this season.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Hey, Raina.
No, I don't have anything new.
John.
Yes, I have one thing. Eric, could you ask property maintenance to look at the old Nissan facility on Goffel Road where the old Fisher Tile is? That building, the grounds are a mess in the front of the building. All kinds of paper debris and everything. And I think it should be cleaned up. They took all the cars out of there, but they should at least clean up the front of the building.
We will address it.
Thank you. That's all I have, Frank.
Bruce?
No, sir. I chose to bring up the tree issue and, my normal channel, so that's already been addressed, so I think we're good to go.
Okay. Dominic?
I'm okay. Thank you.
Okay. No, I don't have any other new business. So we'll move on to the administrative agenda presented by Mayor Goldberg. Mayor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to thank our residents and how they've been staying at home, socially distancing when out, and wearing masks. We've seen a drop in active cases to under 25. It's imperative that we continue the good fight. For those of you who forgot to fill out your census forms, I urge you to do that as soon as possible, as federal funding is dependent upon our population. The borough will be receiving federal funds under the CARES Act to help reimburse us for expenses we have incurred because of the virus, so it's nice to know this pandemic should have no impact on our taxpayers. I'm sure you're aware we've canceled Memorial Day Parade and are having a small service Monday, which we hope to have videotaped and shown on our local cable channel, Cablevision 77 and Verizon 28 and YouTube. I ask that you remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice by keeping them in your prayers. There is a movement to honor our fallen heroes by playing the national anthem outdoors at 10 a.m. on Memorial Day. So if you can do that, it would be appreciated. We're still waiting to hear from the governor on if and when we can open the municipal pool, and I will keep you informed. It appears things are getting better since my once-a-week call to the governor's office is now once every other week, and the call from the county went from 3 times a week to twice a week. The governor has begun to relax some restrictions. As of this Friday, golf, archery, and tennis will be open, and we'll be opening our tennis courts for singles play only. Well, at the courts, please maintain social distancing while playing, and I will let you know when the governor allows us to allow doubles to play. My administration is working on plans to help our small businesses and restaurants as soon as the governor allows them to open, and we will work with them to make a smooth transition. Normally, if this was our regular meeting, we would have a back row full of first responders because I have a proclamation because this is National Emergency Medical Services Week. So if you would bear with me, I'd like to read the proclamation, even though I don't have anyone to give it to. Whereas the sweeping global pandemic brought on by COVID-19 has had a devastating effect on the New York City region, hitting northern New Jersey particularly hard with high rates of infection, hospitalizations, and death. And whereas the borough of Hawthorne has not escaped this national health crisis with over 400 reported cases and 20 deaths to date. And whereas the need for quality emergency medical services has never been greater as a vital part of our public service and health. Whereas Hawthorne has been blessed to have a dedicated group of volunteers serving its community, devoting countless hours providing life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. Whereas members of the Hawthorne Volunteer Ambulance Corps have responded to the call in this time of emergency, putting their own health and safety at risk to ensure that those stricken during this time of the pandemic will have every chance to survive and recover. Whereas tens of thousands of hours have been given to the municipality by the members of the Emergency Medical Service Corps can never be repaid, and thank you will never be enough to say. Whereas the mayor and council of the borough of Hawthorne, on behalf of its citizens, nevertheless says all that can say thank you to the members of the William B. Mawhinney Memorial Ambulance Corps for your tireless efforts and your selfless service to this grateful community. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the mayor and council of the borough of Hawthorne do hereby proclaim the week of May 17th to the 23rd, 2020 as Emergency Medical Services Week, in the borough of Hawthorne and a recognition of the Hawthorne Volunteer Ambulance Corps and those who engage in emergency medical service activities, and encourage the community to observe this week with the appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. It's signed by me and the entire council. At this time, I call upon my borough attorney, Michael Pasquale, for his report.
Thank you, Mayor. I do want to report, first of all, I want to wish everybody well. The Ambulance Corps, I get to follow your proclamation. I did the math one time. If we had to pay for their services, we would pay over $1 million a year based on the number of hours they devote to our community, between what we would pay in health benefits and hours of service. We are blessed to have our fire and our EMS, and great that we could honor them this week. My report is going to be singular. I'm going to address one thing. It's going to be lengthy. If you have a glass of water or a bottle of water by your side, that may help. I want to report on our affordable housing, and in particular, the fact that next meeting I intend to present to the council settlement agreements settling all of our affordable housing litigation. Two separate settlements, one with the owners of the 3 Ronson property, which is the former Patriot site. The other is with what's known as Fair Share Housing Center, and that addresses our overall obligation. A little background for the people watching at home. In 1975, the New Jersey Supreme Court decided in Mount Laurel 1 that every developing community had an obligation, a constitutional obligation, to provide the realistic opportunity for the development of affordable housing. In 1983, in Mount Laurel 2, it decided the towns were not doing enough, so they instituted remedies such as a builder's remedy lawsuit, which would allow a landowner to sue a town and say its zoning ordinance is unconstitutional. In 1985, the legislature passed the Fair Housing Act, and they created COA, the Council on Affordable Housing. And COA published rules covering round 1, round 2, up through 1999, and then it did nothing. And in 2015, the Supreme Court of New Jersey decided to do away with COA and to return oversight of all affordable housing back to the courts. And that was done in a series of decisions telling us how we needed to address what is our round 3 obligation. And round 3 covers 1999 all the way to 2025, because the Supreme Court ruled we have to address the gap years where COA did nothing from 99 to 2025. So that's the background. We filed what we were permitted to file, which is a lawsuit seeking approval of our housing element and fair share plan, which our planners Joe Burgess and Associates developed. We were met with opposition by 3 entities. The owner of 204 Wagler Road wanted its site included in our plans for development. The owner of the Patriot site, which is 3 Ronson now, wanted its site included, and Fair Share Housing has to be, well, actually was automatically included in our lawsuit, and they are a public interest group funded by builders largely, but a public interest group that nevertheless fights for affordable housing throughout the state of New Jersey. So we did settle previously with 204 Wagler Road. We are now looking to settle with both 3 Ronson and with Fair Share Housing. The details of the settlement I'm going to have available on our website. In shortest terms, the 3 Ronson site will be developed, if approved by this council, with 116 townhouse units. 17 of those will be set aside for affordable housing. We will also, we took a lot of measures to try to help protect the surrounding landowners. There'll be an 85-foot setback from the front road, the road on Gothel. There'll be 60 and 75-foot distances at the side that adjoins houses on Brockeisen to give as much a buffer as we could. In addition, we've got the developer to agree that no more than 50% impervious coverage would be on the site. So we did what we could to protect the residents from all the aspects of development that will be, unfortunately, part of our lives. There is a pilot that is part of this settlement, that is a payment in lieu of taxes that we negotiated as part of the incentive to get the developer to drop another 8 units out of what would have been what we thought an overly dense development. Like every settlement, we're not saying that this is thrilling. This is not what we had hoped or wished for, but it's fair, it's reasonable, it's one we'll recommend. As to fair share housing, that is a global settlement, and that will settle the rest of Hawthorne's obligation. We'll never meet our entire obligation. We don't have enough vacant land. But we will take some measures, such as rezoning our downtown B2 zone to allow 2 stories of housing over existing storefronts in a way to try to revitalize downtown. It's something our planner, Hank, frankly, has pushed for a number of years as a way to try to incentivize the redevelopment of our downtown. We're also going to introduce alternate zoning on Royal and Grand Avenues between Warburg and Diamond Bridge that would allow for some multifamily housing. And we're going to have a town-wide blanket, basically, zoning ordinance that would say wherever you build 5 housing units or more, there has to be an affordable component. So those are the basics of the settlement. Again, I will make sure that on our website we will have something to allow anybody from the public to be able to see this. The protocol from here is at the next meeting, I will ask for your approval of the settlements, and then we will proceed to what's known as a fairness hearing before Judge Brogan. That's scheduled for 7. There's a great deal to do. I want to thank all of you for your support, Mayor and Eric, and you guys have been instrumental in helping negotiate this. Our planner, Joe Burgess, our engineer, Steve Boswell, just top notch. So I look forward to getting this thing finished, and I will have nothing to talk about going forward except the band shell. The governor has allowed cars to be in a place in excess of people in a place, which of course has the band shell thinking, why are we not doing a drive-in movie? So there are plans underway. We will announce them shortly, but our hope is to be able to present a drive-in movie in the coming weeks. Stay tuned, follow us, and it'll be something, a blast from the past, and something I hope you'll all enjoy. So I thank you, Mayor. I thank everybody. I wish you continued health and safety, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Michael. That report from somewhere in the woods of Hawthorne. Next, I call upon my borough engineer quarantined in Arizona for his report.
Thank you, Mayor. The Gothel Hill Water Storage Tank, the remedial investigation report is written. Final QA is being performed, and it'll be submitted. The Mary Street Water Tank, LSRP services, we're still waiting for the contractor to give us the weight tickets for the disposal of soil. Once we have those, we'll write the RIRAR and submit that to the DP as well. The 2019 municipal aid application, which was Arlington Avenue Phase 2 and Alexandria Avenue, is now complete, and we'll have closeout documents probably before the next meeting. Same is true of the 2019 road improvement project. All final punch list items have been addressed on both of those. The 2020 road improvement program was advertised on Friday, May 15th. Bids are due on Thursday, May 28th, and pending review of the bids, we would probably award that on the June 3rd council meeting. The 2020 NJDOT local aid project, which is Parmalee Avenue, we've gotten back all the comments from the DOT. We've addressed them. We're going to work with the clerk and probably schedule the receipt of bids on June 10 and award that one at the June 17 council meeting. So both road programs will be awarded in the next 2 meetings. The Hawthorne Library lighting improvements, the authorizing resolutions from the Jersey Library Construction Bond were passed at the library's meeting on May 13. We're working with the library director and the mayor. We're having a site visit coming up to compare the lighting design plans with the actual building fixtures and confirm that everything's been addressed. And we'll check the electrical system at that time, but we don't anticipate that to be a problem because we're going to all LED lighting. So obviously it'll take much less amperage than the current lighting plan. And then finally, the 2021 NJDOT local aid application will be soon. I think the dates now are July 8th is the due date, and we're just waiting for the Public Works Committee, for Bruce's committee, to decide whether they want to do Bamford or Utter Avenue. Once that's decided, we'll submit that and we'll get that grant. And other than that, Mayor, I'll answer any questions anyone has.
Thank you, Steve. Now I call upon my borough administrator for what I'm sure is a very lengthy report. Eric, you're up.
I'll try to make it as short as possible. Our 2020 budget is on for adoption tonight. I hope that goes well, and I want to thank everybody who's been involved in that process, the Finance Committee, the Council, department heads, and especially Lori Foley. On the agenda tonight is Resolution R6520. This is the agreement for the CARES Act grant that the mayor referred to. It's federal money coming through the county. It's a very large amount of money. It's $1,096,000. I don't see how we can reasonably spend that amount of money on COVID-related things, and we won't spend money just to be spending money, but we will make sure all of our needs are addressed, and that will include such things as the cleaning of the building. We're expanding our janitorial services for cleaning of touch surfaces, so the DPW doesn't have to do that. We've already done 2 exhaustive cleanings, one of the police department and one of the rest of the municipal building after employees tested positive. We will be buying cleaning supplies, putting hand sanitizer dispensers at all municipal facilities. The police department, the fire department, the ambulance corps, and the library have all been asked for their needs so that we can meet them. We'll be making some physical changes to the building, installing shields at counters, so like you see at supermarkets. So when we reopen the building, we will have that level of separation between us and the public. Extra costs on nursing services will be paid for, and all equipment we need for working remotely. We've ordered some computers. We expect to be laptops. We expect to be ordering more, and we've changed the configuration in our server room for calling in from outside, so we have necessary security when we do that remote access. Anything else we can think of that is necessary and COVID related, we will make sure that we use the grant money so that it isn't a burden on the local tax base. I've asked for the resolution R6820 be added to the agenda. That's for purchase of police vehicles. This afternoon by email, I distributed a memo. Basically, there's 4 vehicles, 2 in the police department, 2 in the building department that are included in the budget. In the police department, one of the things they distributed was a list of all their vehicles, how they're deployed, what their condition is. And right now, we really, besides those that are deployed on a regular basis, we only have 2 vehicles that are available as spares or to be used, or safe to be used for off-duty vehicles. We have 4 more that we've been using as off-duty, but that really need to be retired. With the purchase of the 2 new vehicles, we will then have 4 vehicles that are in good shape for spares and off-duty work. I mention off-duty because the off-duty vehicle fees we've been collecting give us more than enough money to cover the 2 vehicles we're buying out of the police department. It's not dedicated funds, but it's for that purpose. So it's essentially costing us nothing because we're collecting that money. The 2 in the building department are funded entirely by our building permit fees, and that the cars will eventually be able to be handed down to the police department. I asked for your consideration on this. Was going to wait for the June 3rd meeting, but we're told that if we wait that long, the number of vehicles now available due to the COVID issues may not allow us to purchase them, which would push us back into the next model year and into the fall, and could increase our cost and delay when we would be able to have the vehicles. I had reported to you earlier in response to Councilman Lane's question, the status of the PSC and G repaving. We're working on the pool to be ready for an opening on or about July 1st, should that be allowed, and should we be able to find that we can actually open safely. The Mayor's Pool Advisory Committee that was constituted last year, we are using to bounce some ideas off on how we do the social distancing and other operational changes to allow us to operate safely. And we hope to come up with a plan that will be allow us to open the pool, even if doesn't run exactly as it's happened in recent years. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Eric. Council President, we'll be glad to answer any questions.
Hey, does anyone have any questions for the administration?
I think Council President. Everybody's here. Frank,
Bruce?
can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
And this
You're a little
for Eric, it's purely from my own education here. I understand that 2 vehicles being purchased for the police department, and I understand 2 vehicles being purchased for the buildings department. Normally, I would think you'd pass the vehicles down from police to building. Are we doing it the opposite way because of the way they're being funded?
The answer, yes, because if they are purchased with effectively using uniform construction fees, that has to be the first use, and we can then use it somewhere else only after they've had substantial use of those vehicles.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to.
I would also note, though, that the police department puts much heavier use on the vehicles than the building department. So the police department receives them in good condition.
That makes perfect sense.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question, Frank.
Tom?
Richie, could you explain Memorial Day, what we're doing?
Yes, we're having a small semi-private service, which we are going to be videotaping to be played. We've asked for no more than 2 representatives from the organizations that normally place wreaths. We will have chairs in the street, having them socially distanced. The only speaker that day will be me, and the wreaths, I believe, have been ordered, and we have buy-in from everybody with the understanding that we would love to have more people out, but based on the governor's orders, we're trying to keep it as small as possible.
Thank you.
Can I just ask a
Do
quick
you
question?
want us there or no?
You're invited to come. It would probably be better if you didn't, but you're invited to come.
All right, so that was my same question because I'm sorry. I do have to work, but I will be willing to take the day off.
No.
So that I can.
No, don't do that.
Joe, I appreciate that, and I know all of you would do whatever it takes to be there to honor those people who sacrificed so and the families who lost loved ones. But I think they understand as well as we do that we're in uncharted waters. This is something that we've never had to done, but we believe honoring their sacrifices is so important that we're going to do something, but we're trying to do it as low key as possible. Some towns already have videotaped their service. Memorial Day. We decided to do what we always do, is to hold a service on Memorial Day.
All right, so you know how strong I feel about the service. I have 2 boys in the Marine Corps.
Yep.
I will tell you that it's very important for me to be at work, but it's also important for me to pay tribute to those who have lost their lives. So I'm gonna follow your lead, Mayor.
Thank you, Joe. I don't think anybody will question your feelings towards the military and the sacrifices our soldiers have made since the Civil War. I appreciate the fact that you're doing God's work at the hospital, and it's better that you're there that day.
And Mayor, I echo Joe's comments. This is a very special holiday because I lost an uncle on a bombing mission in World War II. My grandmother was a Gold Star mother, and the holidays have been very special for me. I will stay home and quarantine, and I will honor him in my own way. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. And again, the same as I said to Joe, nobody questions your patriotism or your feeling about the sacrifices made. I think I'm proud that you all understand, as much as you'd like to be there for the safety of those who will be there, that you're not coming. And I think that says something about the character of both you and Joe.
Nina, you had a question.
Thanks, Frank. Okay. Eric just poised himself, so Eric, I have a couple of questions about your report.
Okay.
Okay. So getting back to the police vehicles and the memo, you said there's going to be 2 police, and that's going to go for the spares and off duty. So I take it we're taking 2 of those cars and auctioning and taking them off the road, correct?
We have 4 cars that have to come off the road, and we will. The new cars will become our frontline vehicles, and we'll take our current frontline vehicles, probably move those into the reserve positions.
Okay. And then you said you were buying 2 vehicles for the building department. Who are you getting those 2 new vehicles in the building department?
There'd be the construction official, and then one used by other inspectors.
Okay. And then those 2 cars from there, they're going to be retired and moved to the police department. Is that my understanding?
That's correct.
So then the police are getting 4 cars. Then from 2.
Yes.
Okay.
After a year.
What do you mean after a year? I thought the 2 that's going in the building are going to move, right?
Yeah. There'll be 2 new ones go.
We'll talk offline about it.
Okay. All right. Because I'm just a little confused, and that came very late this afternoon.
I gotta tell you, I have yet to
clarification.
receive any information in regards to these vehicles.
Joe, I think you didn't get it because we're trying to only communicate with Hawthorne NJ emails, and I think you requested them to go to your work email, and I think that didn't get picked up to be sent to your work email when we changed the meeting for the IT meeting.
Well, I gotta tell you honestly that if I'm in one of the COVID units, I'm not bringing my personal phone into the COVID units. So I don't see these emails, and if they're coming at last minute, I just don't think it's fair.
My apologies, Joe. You had made the request.
I don't disagree, but I think that was today's problem.
Sorry, you said I only caught you half because Eric started talking, Council President.
Eric? What caused the late change in the agenda today?
Basically, as I mentioned, we had planned to do this on June 3rd, but because we got information that the vehicles, they may run out before June 3rd, I thought we ought to make an attempt to get them ordered before then so that we don't get shut out from the number of vehicles that are available. And I apologize for the...
I have to tell you honestly that I couldn't even read the backup. Please don't expect me to vote in favor of it, not even having the backup. That's not fair.
Joe, maybe you remember the expression that just came across my desk today.
Eric, I think he's also talking about the second email.
At the end of March, I put out this request that if there was going to be something that needed to be out for the council, please use my Barnabas email address. I will go back to my desk. I will read it on my phone. I'm not going to bring my phone into COVID areas. It's just not, I just don't want to bring my personal equipment into COVID areas. I'll go back to my office and read what needs to be read, but you can't just let me not have backup. I just don't think it's fair.
It isn't fair. You made the request, and I made two mistakes with that today, and for which I apologize. I can't undo that. I understand if you have to vote the way you need to vote. Even when I talked to the council president today about adding it, I said if we feel it needs to be put off, we'll put it off. But I felt I needed to make the request.
Council President, I still have another question though. So.
Well, let me just finish up on that one. 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Joe, if he's going to copy your other phone on that as well, your other address, do not comment back from that phone, because we will not have conversations from a private email address. We're only conversations on the hawthornenj.org emails. Correct?
My email today, early this morning, was just email me to go to my phone to read the email, and I will reply. That's all you need to do is text me, go to my other phone and read what you're sending me. That's all I'm requesting. Give me a heads up. I'll go back to my office and I'll read what that information is.
Okay. No problem. Then we'll text you, hey, go look at your other phone. That's not a problem. Got it. Yes, Raina.
Okay. So, Eric, you mentioned about the CARES Act, and there's a resolution to pass tonight for the grant money through the county. And you listed a bunch of items that the town is thinking of buying or purchasing or in the past. So the question is, since March to present, do we have an idea of how much money has been spent on that? And has it been coded to the storm recovery trust? Because there was bills that had that. So are we keeping track of all the coronaviruses under that storm recovery trust that we approved like about a month or so ago to kind of capture all those costs?
Yes, we charged them to the trust because we didn't know about this grant. Our CFO knows about it. Once we have the grant added, we accept the grant. At the next council meeting, we will amend the budget after adoption to include the grant with a Chapter 159 resolution. At that point, every COVID-related expense that we've had from the start of this emergency will be transferred to the grant, and so it won't come out of our trust.
Okay, and Do we have an eligibility of the expenses for that CARES Act? Is that publicly available so that we understand exactly what items can be charged to coronavirus related expenses?
It's expenses related to the virus and dealing with the virus. Someone asked, can we buy an ambulance with it? Patterson wanted to buy ambulances. They were told no. Somebody's going to be looking. So obviously we're not going to buy, a TV for everybody in town, but we're going to buy the PP, personal protection equipment, sanitizing, any overtime costs can go there. And as I said, putting up the screens and sanitizers, all are part of that expense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there'll be auditing after this.
They certainly will be. That's why we're not going to just go crazy. We're going to do legitimate items because this is sort of a one-time, last-minute thing approved by the federal government that didn't go through rulemaking and extensive list of rules and regulations and procedures. It doesn't have the same kind of definition on eligible activities as many grants do. So it's not and it's not based on a grant application that we submit them and tell the federal government, here's what we're going to spend it on. Is it okay? So it's really defined based on, is it COVID related and necessary as a result of this emergency. And so that's the standard we're going to use. If there were something big, we'll try to get some guidance. But the things that we need to do anyway, and we'll spend the money.
Okay, great. Thanks for that clarification.
And the nice thing about this is the county already has the money in the bank. So it's already come from the federal government to the county.
Okay, great. And so that if we don't spend, let's say we just spend, I don't know, I'm going to make a number up, 300,000, 400,000. That's all you're going to get because this is a reimbursement. It's not like you're going to get the whole thing and you have to spend up to that. Okay.
Correct. You only get what you spend.
And will the reduction of that, like say we don't spend 400,000, does that get redistributed to the other towns of Passaic County or does that go back to the federal government?
I have no idea.
Okay.
We had to put the full amount. We had to put the full amount in the grant agreement. We have no expectations of spending $1 million on this. They're just, unless something happens that we're totally unexpecting, I don't see how we would responsibly spend that amount of money.
All right. Thank you for that clarification. Thank you, Mayor.
Frank, I have a follow-up question for Eric on that.
Questions for the administration?
Frank?
Yes, John.
I have a follow-up question for Eric on that.
Yes, John.
Eric, when you compile everything, you're going to give us an itemized list from each department of exactly what everybody's requesting?
It will. I've requested lists from that. I can share it with you. I'm guessing it's not going to be a fixed item as people come up with ideas and needs. It's going to change, so it's not going to be one list that's produced and done. We'll put it. I've asked for lists from the departments. We can put together. We can compile those and distribute to them, but I don't expect that to be the final list of expenditures because people are going to learn new things that we're going to need to spend money on.
Okay, but if we're going to vote on that, then I think we should be entitled to see exactly what we're voting on.
John, you can't. It's a reimbursement that goes all the way to the end of December. So we don't even know what we're going to be spending the money on yet. You're going to be spending the money in seeking reimbursement. And so if the decision is to buy PPEs or whatever, we're going to go ahead and buy that and hope to get reimbursed. It can't be that we get approval of the expenditures in advance. It's a reimbursement program.
I understand that. department is putting together a complete list of the items that they've expended as far as either PPE or whatever they expended. I'm sure Eric is going to compile that list, and there's going to be a dollar amount to it. Even though it's a grant money, I think we as the council should be aware of exactly what we're spending, what the money's being spent on.
We will compile a list based on the departmental requests initially. I can tell you though, that will not be the final thing, because we may find out we need more of something. We may find out we need something we didn't know we needed before. And just like in the budget, if we have a $20 million municipal budget, we know specifically some of the things we're going to buy, and we itemize them in the budget. In other areas, we just have categories, and we tell you that this is the category we expect on, and we may or may not spend the full amount, and we don't have the particulars at the time we do the budget. This is going to be a similar thing. We won't have all the particulars. The category, though, is COVID-related things.
Okay, thank you.
Frank, I have some.
Okay, Joe?
So at our last meeting, I did ask about testing sites for the borough of Hawthorne. I think a lot of these items I'm going to be listing are under the CARES Act. I do apologize. I have not had the opportunity like I normally do to reach out to you and have our conversation. But there are a lot of items I do want to cover. So testing sites, have we considered that for the borough of Hawthorne? Mayor?
Yeah, we'll certainly look at testing, spending money from the CARES Act for our residents, for our volunteers, for our employees.
Okay. Second is antibodies. For those who, I am lucky enough to have I lived through COVID. I now have the antibodies. What are we doing for those staff members that have tested positive for antibodies? I know that I have a whole nother, at work, I'm allowed to do so much more because I have the antibodies. I'm allowed to go into certain areas. I don't have to wear certain PPE. Have we come up with a policy in relation to antibodies for our staff members if they have acquired them?
The answer, Joe, is not yet. This is something that we're going to probably look for some outside guidance on. We usually take our guidance from the state of New Jersey health department and not really decide our own policies. We've followed the state policy so far. We'll probably do the same here. But, that's something that's going to evolve and we're going to have to deal with. But we do not have a plan in place yet.
I ask that you do put a plan in place. I also ask for CARES. Please, this is a very important thing I want to stress to you. We at RWJ Barnabas are planning for 2020 of October 2020. So whatever money you are going to be for the grant, think of things you're going to want and need in the event that there is COVID 2019 round 2 is estimated to hit us in October of 2020. Please consider in your budgets for items for that period. Think about the PPE you need for coverage. Think of vehicles you're going to need. Think of anything you're going to need in October of 2020 to prepare you in the event that there is, God forbid, second round.
Yeah, at this point, we've asked all the departments to prepare ask what they think they might need through December of this year, because that's when what the grant period is for. Obviously, they may not know the exact quantity. We may order a certain quantity of PPE and find out we need more. But as we want to be generous and estimate high, because it's probably going to go. There's probably a second round. And of the virus, and everything I've heard, it's going to continue probably into 2021 at least, and so we need to be prepared.
Thank you very much, Eric. I'm glad to hear that. All right. So, has there been any talk about? Last night, I went around town, took a long walk. I saw a line of people at the library with the, I guess they thought the library was open or is opening. What, is there a soft date for the future of the library opening?
I have not heard.
I can tell you, Joe, we discussed it at the last library board meeting. They have yet to make a decision, but they don't anticipate getting back much before July 1st, just as a guess.
I was shocked to see so many people at the library waiting online or actually trying to open the doors. I guess it's, you know, just boredom that they just need to get out of their houses and walk up to the library, something to do. So I just put it out there that if you drive by the library, people are trying to open the door. So I put it out there.
Okay.
All right, so the fire department did an amazing job. You didn't mention there, Mayor, but I know you meant to mention that on Emmeline Drive, there was a landscaper trailer. You want to mention that, Mayor?
Yes, I do. And a matter of fact, you are right. The fire department and the police did a great job. It's, I guess, our second runaway truck in a couple of years going through a house. Fortunately, there were no injuries. The fire department did a great job in getting everything structurally safe. And as always, the fire department continues to impress me.
Thank you, Mayor. And then lastly, I just want to leave with Dr. Boswell. Have you had the opportunity? I understand that Camelback Mountain opened for golf this week. Have you had an opportunity to play around out there?
It's interesting, Joe. Golf has never been restricted in Arizona. I don't know why I know that, but that's a fact.
Thank you very much. I have nothing more, Council President.
Okay, any other questions for the administration? Neil? Seeing nothing, can I have a motion to record the administrative agenda?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Witecki. Second by Sierra. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. Introduction of ordinances. We have ordinance number 2253-20. An ordinance to amend number 2249-20, fixing of the 2020 salaries, wages, and compensation of the employees of the Borough of Hawthorne, County of Passaic, and State of New Jersey. Be resolved, this ordinance does now pass the first reading, and the said ordinance be further considered for final passage at the meeting of the governing body in the Municipal Building, 445 Lafayette Avenue, Hawthorne, New Jersey, on June 17, 2020. And at said time and place, all persons interested will be given an opportunity to be heard concerning the same. The clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish the said ordinance in the record at least 1 week prior to said hearing, with a notice of its introduction and time and place when and where said ordinance would be considered for final passage. Have a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Witecki.
So moved. Second.
Second by Bennett. Any discussion?
Yes, I have a question, Council President.
Yes.
Okay, my question is this. We just passed in February, where's my date? February 19, 2020, the salaries. So my question is, how did we miss these two, the special 2 police officer per hour and the director, secretary, board of rec? Because they were in that ordinance that we passed in February with this existing salaries. And then there was the fire department increases as well. So just trying to understand what's the issue here.
For the two specific positions, we had them in there. There was just a typographical error in the dollar amount that they put in, and based on the intended percentage increase. And so this corrects that mistake. The clothing allowance for the firefighters was something that was recommended as part of the budget, but until the budget has been reviewed and approved, we had left the amounts at the old level, and this basically implements the new amounts that were put in the budget.
Okay.
I think it's important to understand that we may amend the salary ordinance 5-6 times a year because as different things come up that weren't covered, or as an employee is hired at a different rate, sometimes it requires an adjustment to the salary ordinance. So it's not unusual to amend it several times during the year.
Okay, thank you for those clarification, Mayor and Eric. Thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Bennett,
Yes.
Leosa,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Mealy, Wachecki. I'm
Yes.
sorry,
How about Skiera?
Skiara,
Yes. Yes.
Wachecki,
Yes, a second.
and Matthews. Motion carries.
Yes. Public hearing on the budget amendment. I now open to the public. If anyone desires to be heard on the amendment of the 2020 budget, municipal budget of the Borough of Hawthorne, please join the meeting now at 669-224-3412, access code 726-736-141. Anyone wish to be heard on the amendment that we introduced last meeting to the budget? Well, seeing no one, I entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Have a motion. Motion by Witecki, second by Bennett. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Resolution to the 2020 municipal budget, BR 05-20. Have a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion.
Uh-oh.
Skiara,
Frank's
Don't all
frozen.
jump.
Second.
Frank, are you there?
It looks like his screen might be frozen.
Leosa?
I've got a motion by Skiara, second by Leosa. We'll call the roll.
Any discussion? Roll.
Roll call. Wachecki,
Yes.
Skiara, Mealy,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Leosa,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Matthews. Motion carries.
Yes. Resolutions, we have consent. Resolutions, we have consent agenda R65-20 through R68-20. R65-20 is the grant agreement with the county under CARES Act. R66-20 is amend R62-18 to increase the engineering services of the Goffle Hill Tank Remediation Project. R7-20, amend R108-19 to increase engineering services for the Snake River Gateway Project. And R68-20, purchase of police vehicles. Have a motion.
Motion.
So moved.
Motion by Sierra, second by Bennett. Discussion. Seeing none, roll call.
Bennett,
Yes.
Leosa,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Mealy,
Yes.
Skiara,
Yes.
Wachecki,
Yes.
Matthews.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Reports of special council committees. Joe, we'll start your way.
I had no council committee meetings that I chaired. I did attend a meeting chaired by Councilman Lane. I'm sure he's going to address it. And then I know we were scheduled to have a meeting this afternoon, and it got postponed until this afternoon.
Okay. Dominic.
Yes, I want to thank, first of all, my first year being council chairman of finance. I'd like to thank Eric for doing a great job again. We always, kind of take him for granted, but I want to thank Eric. I want to thank my committee and especially Lori Foley for also helping us. Last week, there was a fire on Royal Avenue. I want to just commend our fire department again and our ambulance corps for doing a great job. It was I believe it was a plumber's truck between two houses, and our guys put that fire out and saved two houses. I just want to thank them for doing a great job, and that's it.
That guy would be me, and you're welcome.
You're welcome, Joe.
Good job, Joe. You save lives during the day, you save houses during the afternoon.
Never forget our fire department.
Bruce.
No, sir, I have nothing to report at this time. We've been conducting public works business via email with Eric, and he's been doing a heck of a job. So thank you, Eric, for keeping everything on track in these difficult times. And I understand I'll be participating in an IT committee meeting after this council meeting, so we'll probably have something to report on it later this month or next month.
Fair enough. Rena.
I have nothing to report. Thank you.
Joseph. Oh, we got you already. John.
Thank you. We had an ordinance meeting yesterday, and it pertained to the area in the 4th Ward, Utter Avenue, the numbered streets with regard to truck traffic, 18-wheelers, box trucks. The police are also involved. The sergeant was in charge of traffic was involved in the meeting for his input. We did give him some direction with regard to research some items pertaining to the weight of the vehicles on the numbered streets, and he's going to prepare a report for us and get back to us probably within a few weeks, so that this way we can hopefully proceed and have some type of ordinance pertaining to the gross vehicle weight, which would actually entail the size of the vehicles on the numbered streets. I would say from 6th Avenue to 10th or 11th. So more to come. As soon as we get the report back from the police department, we'll have another ordinance meeting, and then we'll just go from there with regard to possible ordinance change for that. That's all I have, Frank.
Fair enough. I have nothing to report. Like Joe said, we have an IT meeting after this council meeting, so as mentioned as well. We'll report after that for the next meeting. And for anybody watching at home, we did discuss the traffic coming off of 208 and on Utter Ave, and more to follow on that one. So moving along, we have no correspondence.
Frank, you forgot me again.
Oh, Michael, you're too quiet over there. Michael.
I know I'm the new guy, but really.
You know what it is?
I'm starting to get a conflict.
You're buried over there.
You look different.
Move me around.
How did you get a haircut? Did your wife cut your hair?
My wife did. And I'll share this with everybody. Don't trust a female with a scissor or a knife. I gave her cutting shears. That's how she did it. Definitely during quarantine. Don't do it. But
Okay.
I do have I have a couple of reports actually. Okay, so on the library board met virtually for the virtual meeting on May 13th. The library does remain closed. The next meeting is scheduled for June 10th at 4 p.m. and we're hoping to have more information about the progress of the library open. As far as the board event, my report's a little more lengthy as far as that is concerned. As far as the district calendar set out early in the year, and it has an allowance of instructional days that they put in just in case it's inclement weather or snow. There was none this year, so there's 3 days given back. So the end of the school will now be moved from June 19th to June 16th, which is a Tuesday. A year-end events, the district received guidance from New Jersey Department of Education regarding requirements of virtual graduation ceremonies. The memo clearly explains that the virtual for the remainder of the 2020 school year. However, since the Governor Murphy has unofficially modified these guidelines, they're hopeful that that may change. They're waiting for formal notification for these changes and guidelines to move forward, and they're going to continue moving forward the district plans as a virtual graduation. Let's see. Right now, the scheduled graduation for Lincoln Middle School will be on Monday, June 15th, and for the high school will be Tuesday, June 16th. End of the year closeout, just to give you guys a little bit of an update. The anticipated guidelines from New Jersey of Education, once again, regarding these end of the year's procedures, and discuss the safety options for students to pick up personal material at the schools, cleaning up their lockers, classrooms, uniforms, books, Chromebooks, so on and so forth. They will keep parents informed of what this schedule is. Virtual events. They have the school has had a numerous amount of virtual events. They're preparing for Senior Week on June 1st, and they're also preparing for the Lincoln Middle School and the Hawthorne High School spring productions, which will be done virtually. So you can find that on the district YouTube channel. The high school track has been reopened, and it's open for all residents, and they ask to follow the guidelines. The track will be monitored throughout the week by the district's security personnel. No group workouts, large groups are permitted. Use of the high school fields and hockey rink are strictly prohibited. Bicycles, scooters, strollers, or anything with wheels are not permitted and can damage the track surface. Social media and YouTube. This is regards to where anybody and residents get information related to the school district. There are a number of different sources that the school district has. They have a Hawthorne Public School Facebook page, a Hawthorne Public School Twitter page, again with Instagram, district YouTube page, as well as the district website. They will continue, the district is going to continue educating online remotely. This has been, obviously you can understand, it's been a new challenge for the staff, and they've really stepped up. They did a great job with that. They can continue to improve and revise plans to all their virtual events coming up. The district has had changes related to the COVID-19, conducting virtual events, the Italian Honor Society, National Honor Society, School Scholarship Night, and the 5th grade Parents Orientation, Spanish Honor Society. So a lot of these events are going on. They're trying to continue doing this as normal as possible, and they're doing a lot of things virtually. And you can find all these through the YouTube channel or go on the district website. Unfortunately, the last meeting that they had would have been their student rep night, which also coincides with the Teacher of the Year. So they had to give out awards virtually, and just want to offer some congratulations to Mr. Corvo who's the Teacher of the Year at the high school. At the middle school, Miss Laura Thomas, Elementary School, Jefferson was Mrs. King. Roosevelt was Sarah Today, and Washington was Raquel Piscaretta. Congratulations to all. The district also requests patience for everybody on the huge challenges that they're facing. This is all new for everybody. You have a student enrollment of almost 2,500 students and well over 300 employees, and trying to manage all that virtually, you can understand, is a lot, and they're doing the best they can. Any concerns or questions somebody can have, they can look at their school district website. They can talk to the child's teacher, the building principal, or also refer them to the superintendent's office for any questions they have related to the whole school district. And I told you about the social media outlets, and that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Are you sure?
I could continue for a while if you want me to.
Well, I've been waiting for you all night.
Take the best to last.
Okay.
Council President.
We have no correspondence. Well,
Council President, I just have
another
one quick
one?
question. No, I have a quick question for John. For the ordinance committee that you met, you were talking about Utter Ave going all the way down towards 208. Have you guys thought of taking it to Fifth Avenue to Central? Because there's a lot of truck traffic that turns onto Central to Fifth Avenue. A lot of the trucks go that way. And there's been, I know the residents on Central have been concerned about the truck traffic coming that way.
We talked about that. We also talked about from Utter Avenue to Van Winkle. So the sergeant is also going to address all those issues. He did call me today and went over a number of the businesses that are there. We spoke for a while with regard to that, and he's going to be putting together a complete plan that we'll have for the ordinance committee, and then actually in the administration and our attorney will be reviewing it along with us. And then once we do that, then that'll be brought to the full council for their input, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, that sounds good, because I just know those are the concerns of the residents, especially on Central and also Dixie, because they're cutting through to get to Fifth Avenue that way too. So thank you.
And you're welcome. And also there's the facilities that are in that area of Utter and Fifth. Their employees are parking all over, and that's another item that will also be discussed. That's all I have, Frank. Thank you.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. We have no correspondence, but we have bills. Have a motion to approve the bills and send them to the treasurer for payment.
So moved.
Motion.
Motion by Mealy, second by Sierra. Roll call. Oh, any discussion? Roll call.
Wojtecki,
You gotta turn your mic on, Laura.
You're muted, but abstain on the fire department, yes on all others.
Ciara,
Yes.
Mealy,
Yes.
Lane,
Abstain on the fire department and the ambulance corps, yes on all others.
Leosa,
Abstain on East Coast Power and Gas and PSCG, and everything else is fine.
Bennett, Matthews,
No on the PSC&G bill until they resolve our ongoing issues in town. Yes on all the others.
motion carries.
Public comment. I'll now open the meeting to the public. If anyone desires to be heard, please call in now at 669-224-3412. Access code 726-736-141. or you can email lfernandez@hawthornenj.org.
Council President,
5.
no emails. And there's any
Ooh.
callers that want to, if there's any callers that have any comments or questions, you may speak now.
When would he comment about it?
Right?
Well, Mr. Turco, would you like to be heard?
Do you, Mr. Council President, do you really want me to speak?
If you'd like, the floor is yours.
Well, since you asked, I guess I will.
No problem.
Simply said, the mayor, yourself, all the council members, my fellow board members, and of course our superintendent of schools. We are very fortunate in Hawthorne to have what I deem and many people deem as one of the best superintendents in the state of New Jersey. So as Rome burns in this current situation we are all in, we certainly need to work together. And to hear comments from certain council members that, in my opinion, are completely unfounded are very unnecessary. At this time in our life and in the situation we're in, we do not need any unfounded negative comments from anyone. We need to work together for the betterment of our community, and in my case as a board member, for the children of this community. I sincerely believe that Mr. Watecki owes an apology to not my fellow board members, but to the superintendent of this community, who has done an outstanding job, as is witnessed by your fellow councilman Sciarra, your fellow councilwoman Miss Leosa, in that they know they are completely and totally and very often communicated to as to what is transpiring in our school district. We do not need to battle one another at this time that we are all in right now. We need to work together and, for lack of a better term, maybe pat each other on the back and give them a thumbs up. So, since you called me out and I wasn't going to really speak, I wanted to listen. I think that is a fair statement of the feeling of the community, my fellow board members, and on behalf of, as I said prior, one of the best superintendents in the state of New Jersey, where he and his staff and his administration are doing everything humanly possible to keep everyone informed as to the education of our children in this community. Some of you may or may not know, we have approximately 2,500 children in the district. We gave out almost 600 Chromebooks so children can be educated and continue to be educated. There is constant communication on a daily basis
between principals, secretaries, teachers. And for the statements to be made that were made previously by one of your members is disgraceful. And this community deserves an apology. Thank you for prompting me to speak, Mr. President. I wish you all to stay safe and to stay well. God bless. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. No problem, and thank you for expressing your feelings. And obviously, I don't think there was any malice intended. Joe's obviously entitled to his opinion.
Absolutely.
It was not meant to be a slight on all involved. I'm not going to speak for Joe, but obviously it was something that he was feeling. Not everyone was, but thank you for sharing how it was perceived on your end.
Thank you very much, Mr. Council President.
No problem. Joe?
I refuse to apologize for the comments I made, Mr. Turco. I do, if I may have the floor, please. Is the sentiment that is being echoed throughout the community, please understand that 55% of our taxes go to the Board of Education, and quite frankly, people feel that they are not being communicated to if they do not have a child in the school system or do not have a child who attends Hawthorne. You do not hear. And when you have 55% of your tax dollars going to an organization and not getting communicated to on a regular basis, I don't think it's necessary for a customer, and our taxpayers are our customers, should not be forced to go to a website. I was only complimenting the mayor for his stellar, please read what I wrote, for the mayor's stellar ability to communicate to our residents. I did not make any negative comments towards anyone. I only was complimenting the mayor and that he was making very good strides in communicating to our public. At no point did I make a negative comment towards the superintendent or any Board of Education member.
That's a matter of interpretation. I think you were.
I also would like to say, if I may continue, that
Please.
the letter that was written borders on the fact that bullying in the Hawthorne Board of Education, bullying is not tolerated. And if you read the letter, which I'll be happy to send to you, that was written by the Board of Education president, borders on bullying. And
Well, sir, when it's put to a body, your body, our body, in these times that we are in the manner in which it was spoken, I think everyone is somewhat entitled to some, for lack of a better term, leverage into a response that borders bullying to a degree on your part. I think it was very sad, it was unfounded, and it was not necessary. We are all, as it's been stated, in this together. And everyone is trying to do the right thing and the best thing for everyone, especially in the community that we live in. So you had your piece. I understand. You're entitled to it, and so am I.
Council President, may I say something? Council President?
Okay.
I read the letter. I read the letter that was written by the Board of Education president to Mr. Witecki after he made a comment that said he didn't think the communication was what it could have been. That's what he said. The calling him a name in a letter, telling tonight and coming on the TV and saying it's disgraceful, sad, personal attack. There was no personal attack in what Joe said. And to come on in letter and now in public and to go on a personal attack against one of our council members at a time, as you say, Lou, that we need to be together isn't appropriate. And so I don't understand why personal attacks are taking the place of a comment that someone said saying, I think your communication could have been better. We hear that all the time at the council. Nobody goes on a personal attack after being told your communication could have been better. I don't think it's appropriate to go and make this personal, and that's what's happened here. And I read the letter, and I was surprised that Joe was called a rookie. That's what it said in the letter.
Right, well,
if you had a kid in the school district...
Michael, I'm going to cut you off.
I'm sorry, Frank, but I am going to protect my board, my council members.
It's not your place to.
Michael,
It was a private letter that was responded to Joe's public comment. We're going to leave it at that.
It was not a private letter. It was on
feelings.
Board of Education letterhead, which makes it a public letter, which makes it Cobra.
Michael, I will accept
It
that.
is still not shared in public until now.
It will be.
Michael, I will accept that to a degree. However, two wrongs don't make a right. And we're in a time where negative comments, if they're not founded, should not be stated. That's all. We need to work together. That's all I'm saying. So,
Agreed, Lou, and move forward.
I appreciate it.
Mr. President, may I make a comment?
Well, one second, Mike. That's a good spot for you to end, Lou, and give us a nice smile. Okay, that's a good spot to end it, Lou. All right, Mike.
Unfortunately, my camera's not working, so you don't get to see my beautiful face. However, I do feel the need to respond since this can of worms has now been opened. Let's go down the road.
May I just ask who is speaking? Please, I need...
This is Mike.
Mr. Doyle.
This is Michael Doyle, 15 Mandan Terrace, Hawthorne.
Perfect, thank you.
You're very welcome. My response, my written response to, and we're talking and throwing around the word opinions here. So my opinion and my response to what Mr. Wotecki said at your last council meeting, which I found to be baseless, as well as the rest of my board members, as well as the superintendent, okay? And I'd be happy to play back word for word what was said. He was representing what he heard through the community. He wasn't even really representing his opinion, the way I understood it. However, my response to him was private. I responded to him privately. Mr. Wotecki chose to voice his opinions publicly if we want to go down this road. I'm not going to continue this conversation any more publicly. If Mr. Wotecki would like to talk to me in private, I'd be more than happy to talk to him. He can also sit down with me and the superintendent.
When you
put it, I'm not going to go back and forth here.
Board of Ed,
is what? Excuse me, sir. I have the floor.
It should have been on Board of Ed. It was on Board of Ed paper.
Mr. Wotecki, you know as well as I do it was private. I'm going to end this now. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. Are we done with this subject? All right. Does anyone else have any other public comment they'd like to talk about? Seeing none, can I have a motion to close the public portion of the meeting?
So moved.
Absolutely.
Motion by Mealy, second by Wotecki. Absolutely, Wotecki. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
No.
Motion by Goldberg, second by Wotecki, third by Mealy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The next regular meeting of the Municipal Council is June 3rd at 7 p.m. I assume we will still be virtual, but we will advertise accordingly. Meeting is adjourned.